and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be playing with the Desert Oasis. I nearly hit myself in the face with that palette then. Close one. We're going to be playing with the Desert Oasis palette by BH Cosmetics. I've never actually tried anything from BH Cosmetics. I'm trying not to blind you. But yeah, I've never tried anything from them before, so it's going to be really interesting. I saw Tati Westbrook raving about this palette and how good and creamy and buttery the formula was. Like I said, I've never tried anything from BH Cosmetics, so I don't know if it's just this palette that might be good or if this is like a different formula. It says it's £17 on Beautybay at the moment, but Beautybay has like the tribe like membership, so if you got points then you could redeem some coupon vouchers for that. Usually these sorts of palettes and things are on sale. I definitely got this on sale because it was in my haul after Christmas time or just before Christmas time. So yeah, I mentioned this in my big old makeup haul. If you haven't seen it already, I'll link it up here somewhere so that you can go see it. I hauled so much makeup that it had to be split into two parts, so if you haven't seen those already then feel free, go see some more makeup that I've bought and understand why I'm now on a no buy for at least 6 months. So yeah, as you can see, my face is pretty naked at the moment. All I've got on is my primer, my foundation, my powder, my concealer, my eyebrows and a lipstick in the shade Parker, which is a Colourpop lippy stick, which I think is really cute. So yeah, that's all I've got on my face at the moment, because inside this palette you get like a really nice mirror. That's me there, hello. And then inside it's really difficult to show you without reflecting you. It's got all these highlighters and then some shadows, and then I thought I could use this shade here, which is called Canon, for like a bronzer sort of shade. I sometimes do that where I don't necessarily contour and then bronze. Sometimes I just like sort of do a bronzer, which is like a neutral sort of bronzy shade that does the 2-in-1 job because I'm lazy. So I'm thinking at Canon for like a bronzer, and then this shade here called Sandstone. It's very orangey but it's a matte shade, and I'm thinking with like a brush like this Jaclyn Hill one, it's just like a random brush on hand, it's like really nice and not dense at all, so I'm thinking I could pick up a smidgen of that and use that as blush, but we'll see how that goes. I kind of want to use as many of the shadows as possible. Like I said, we have only got a few mattes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 mattes, all of which are kind of surrounded by very shimmery highlighting colours. All of the shades down here are all highlighters, and then all of these are all like metallics. So yeah, I feel like we should just get onto it and start warming up my face a little bit with this Canon shade. So using this Spectrum A05 brush, it's like a slanted brush, and I love these for sort of bronzerings. I feel like they contour with the base and they like fluff out and bronze with the top of the brush. I really love a slanted brush, and I'm going to go into Canon. Well, it's a little bit powdery, but that's okay. If it blends well, I don't mind a powder being powdery. I feel like my skin is really not having a good time at the moment. Like, it just feels really textured, and my foundation was just clinging in patches today. It's not feeling its best. It's not feeling itself. I mean, it wouldn't be my go-to bronzer. It's a tiny bit too warm, but in a pinch, if you were in a pinch and all you had was this palette on hand because you forgot a bronzer, or you know, you just thought, damn, or you just didn't want to take too much with you, it's not bad. Like, I probably wouldn't be self-conscious about it. It's a little bit patchy, but I think that's just because my skin is really playing up, which probably isn't the best time to do a review on a palette, but oh well. You guys are going to have to ignore what's going on this side of my face, because my skin, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't know if you guys ever experience where some days your skin just doesn't want to take to makeup. I'm going to go into that Sandstorm shade, which is actually an eyeshadow, so do remember it's not a blush, but I just wanted to test these shadows out as like face products, because sometimes I feel like eyeshadows, just because they are labelled as eyeshadows, sometimes they can work amazing on the face, and if it does, then obviously you've got a bit of a capsule sort of palette where you could have a really dewy look and just take this. So I did want to try it out as a face palette as well, even though it's not marketed as one, so obviously take it with a pinch of salt. Oh my god, we're gonna have to tap off the excess of this one. Yeah, take it as a pinch of salt, because obviously these aren't meant to be face products. I'm just trying them on the face to see how they perform. So far I'm not disappointed by it by any means. It's quite nice. I'm literally taking the most minuscule, absolute minuscule amount of that Sandstone to the point where I've like blotted it on the back of my hand. I don't want it to like look too Coco-y the Clown looking, and look too blushed, because it's quite a strong shade. But I don't feel like that looks too bad. Like I said, it's not, you know, it's not ideal, but I don't feel like it looks too bad, to be honest. yeah, I'm not hating that. If I was in a pinch, I'd definitely use these as a bronzer and a blush, just because we've got the highlighters down here anyway. So I feel like if I was really just grabbing something on the go, or I just wanted something for an overnight thing, then I wouldn't be mad at this. It's actually alright. So like I said earlier, we've got these 5 highlighters down the side here, and they all vary in tone. This one's very, very yellow, but I think I like these two the most. This one's very gold tones, this one's very like rose quartzy tones, like very rose goldy toned is the word I'm looking for. So I think I'm probably going to use either these two, but I want to just swatch them on the back of my hands because they might perform completely differently. So the first shade I'm going to go into is Serenity, just here. This one is like a peachy sort of champagne-y gold, very pretty. I think it would look really nice with the tan skin. I'm not sure if it would be a little bit too dark for me. The next one is Bliss, which is this yellowy shade, which might be a bit too yellowy for me, I'm not sure. The undertone of it is actually really lovely, so actually maybe it's when it's on the face it might look really nice, or like these two mixed together might look really, really good. So yeah, it's very, very blinding and beautifully smooth so far. And then we've got the big one called Mirage, which I think might be my favourite. It might be a little bit too dark for me, but we'll have a look. So that one is Mirage, very, very pretty. If you've got a golden undertone and you're medium skin toned, that would be beautiful. The next one is Utopia, which looks very, very golden. Again, this will probably be way too dark for me. So that is Utopia. If you're deeper skin tone, that's going to look really, really pretty on your skin. Like I said, when I draw it back, it's far too orangey and far too deep for my skin tone. And then finally we've got Hideaway, which is the bottom right one. It's deeper, but it's more red toned. So this one's, I'd say it's more coppery. So that is Hideaway right there. Sorry, right there, I'm pointing to the wrong one. As you can see, when I draw it back, far, far deeper than these ones up here. So if you're deeper skin toned, these two are your best bet. And the bottom two, if you're medium, you could probably go for the middle one or the top left. And if you're lighter skin tone, probably these two here, the top two. But yeah, they're really pretty. There's nothing stopping you from using these as eyeshadows. I think after swatching them, I'm going to just dip into the top two and kind of just mix them together. It's like metallic, but not glittery, which is what I like. And I can already tell these are the sort of highlighters that work, or look better, sorry, once they've been blended into the skin a little bit more as well. Like you can't just like plop them on and they look lovely. You've got to kind of work them into the skin a little bit more, otherwise they do look a little bit powdery on the skin. But that's fine. A good setting spray might sort that one out. I feel like they look a little bit more wet and reflective in the camera, whereas in person, let me just look into another mirror, they look a little bit powdery, but not enough for me to hate it, but they just look a tiny, tiny bit powdery. Almost like they're sitting on the skin rather than melting in the skin. But this isn't a bad highlighter, like they're really metallic and it's very beautiful. So I feel like I said, once I've got a setting spray on and everything's kind of like locked into place, it might melt better into skin and not sit on top of it. Okay, so face done and into the eyes. I'm going to go into this shade right here called Sand, which is the palest white matte shade. This shadow feels very creamy as I'm putting my brush in. There's no fallout, there's no kickback or anything. So yeah, it's quite nice so far. Got good even pigmentation and it feels like it's dragging across my lid nicely. I'm then going to go into the shade Cannon, which is the shade we used on my cheeks as my bronzer, and just lay this throughout the crease as a transition. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet, but I just feel like I want something in the crease just to sort of build up the shape of my eye. I've kind of got, not hooded eyes, but I've got quite a deep like set crease, so I feel like whatever I put in the crease, it just creates a nice sort of canvas, whatever I'm going to put down in a minute. I'm noticing as I put these shadows down, I don't know if you can actually see it, but as you immediately put them down, they do sit where you first put them. They do blend okay, but I would just be wary about how much you load up on your brush. So I would just sort of recommend putting some on and then just tapping off the excess. I usually do that anyway, but some shadows do what this is doing now, and as you put it on, it just sits a little bit heavier than anywhere else, so it doesn't quite always blend out as evenly. So I'm noticing that, but it's not so much of a problem because it does blend out quite nice. I'm just gonna drag that shade with the same fluffy brush just under my lash line a little bit, just to create a shadow more than anything else, not really laying down much colour. I'm going to go into the shade June right here, which is the darker version of the shade Cannon, and I'm going to kind of just focus this more on the outer corner but not too high up in the crease. I just want to create a little bit of depth. I have really no idea what I'm going to do so far, so I'm not going to do too much. I just want to kind of see how these two colours that are very similar but slightly darker work with each other. So I'm just going to work from the outer corner and just kind of push this colour to the outer half of my eye. Zooming you in when we came to the eye portion would have probably been the most professional thing to do, but of course I choose to do it halfway through. Sorry. These shadows actually blend really nice together, and I feel like you can create a really basic look just with these two shadows. So yeah, those are really nice tones. I like that. I'll be honest, while I've been blending all these shadows together, I have literally no idea what metallic to go for. I don't know quite what I'm feeling, so I think I might just swatch all of them on the back of my hand and see how we go. This is Moonscape, beautiful golden, like white gold. This is Quartz. These two would be really great in the corner highlighter colours. I think I'll save that for that. This is Terrain, which is very close to the other swatch. I do apologise. That's really pretty. That's like a dirty, like goldy copper. That's pretty. This is Prickly Pear, which is like a brown with like glitters running through it. It's not like quite fully metallic, but it's very pretty. This is Cactus, which is less green than I was expecting. It's like a brown base with green reflect. This is Turquoise, which is like a silvery blue. I wouldn't say it's obviously turquoise, but that's fine, that's just the name of it. I've got other shadow on there, I apologise. But yeah, that's Turquoise. It's really, really pretty silvery based blue. This is the shade Mineral, which is like a pinky pearl shade. Very, very pretty. Might be as good as these two for an inner corner or highlight. That's very, very, very shimmery, very beautiful. This is Heat Haze, which is a beautiful burnt red with a hint of terracotta in it. Beautiful metallic right there. And then finally we have the shade Hot Spring, which is a very bright, is it a cyan blue, or do you say it's like a true blue? I'm not really too sure, but it's a very, very pretty reflective colour. I actually think I like these top three the best. Yeah, these are all very, very pretty. I'm not really too sure what to choose. Okay, so after much deliberation, I'm going to go into the shade Heat Haze and Turquoise, and kind of just like mesh it from a really like rusty red into like a pale silvery blue into the highlight. I'm just going to start packing Heat Haze onto my eye. Whoa, that's packing really well. I've got no setting spray or like Fix Plus or anything like this. This is going on dry. And then on another flat shader brush, I'm going to take the shade Turquoise, this one here, and then just work it on the inner corner right here where I haven't put any shadow yet. And just taking the same brush that I used the blue on, I'm going to use that Hideaway shade, which was actually a highlight, but far too deep for me. And I'm just going to go in that, and I want to kind of just work the two shades just together, just to kind of create a bit more of an ombre-ish effect, rather than just being two colours plonked next to each other. And this colour kind of is a little bit too golden for the red, but it's merging the two quite nicely. And I feel like because I'm using the blue brush, like a tiny tinge of blue is getting caught in that, and it just creates quite a nice effect. I'm just going to kick away any fallout, which I've got just a tad, but I just want to flick that away before it kind of like gets pushed into my skin. Like I said, it's not a lot, probably can't even see it on camera, but I could just see it just there, not a problem. I'm just going to take that June shade that we used in the outer corner and just kind of plop it back where it was a little bit, just to kind of tidy up where the shimmers have gone a little bit too high and a little bit crazy everywhere. Just kind of really lightly just blend the shimmers down a little bit. I'm then going to go into the shade Mineral, which is this one here, the really blinding like pearl shade. This one's so creamy, I can just feel that it's different from any other shade. It just feels really creamy. And I'm going to whack this in the inner corners. Wowza. That's pretty. I feel like for a bit of added extraness, I'm going to go into the shade Nightscape, which is the deepest matte right there. It's like a warm chocolatey cool tones brown, and go in with my liner brush that I actually use for gel, and I'm just going to kind of stamp along the lash line. I don't want to create a wing, I just want to create a little bit of intensity by the lashes. And actually, because it's a deep cool tone brown, it actually makes the lashes look really thick if I just place it right by the lash root. I don't want to do anything too heavy to my lower lash line, so I think I'm just going to take Canon, which is that first initial shade, and just kind of drag it down a little bit further down my lower lash line, just to create a bit more of like a deeper tone under there. And then I want to take the same shade Nightscape that I just used as a little liner and just kind of drag this on the outermost corner of my lower lash line, just here. just to create a little bit more depth and kind of like bring it out and create a bit more like a deeper outer corner. I'm just going to apply some mascara off camera and then we will sum up this little review of this palette. Okay, and that is it. That is the Desert Oasis by BH Cosmetics palette kind of all over my face. And I thought at first this wasn't going to go great because I won't lie, when I started putting that Canon shade on my cheeks, I was a bit like, oh, are these going to not blend out nicely? But for a drugstore palette, like this is £17. I'll be straight with you, there's cheaper palettes out there that you can get under £10 and they are fantastic as well. MUA do some great ones, Revolution do some great ones. If you're after a cheap palette, then you know, you don't necessarily, I wouldn't say this is the one. This is definitely not my favourite palette, but this has performed beautifully and I'm actually quite happy with how it's turned out. And I feel like actually with only 5 mattes in the palette I was a little bit apprehensive, but if I just swatch them all for you now, they're very, very creamy, very, very pigmented. As you can see, they're all very neutral, so I feel like it doesn't matter what look you're going for, whether you use a metallic eyeshadow or you use one of the highlighters across your lid. These are all very neutral, very wearable, so you've got the lightest to the darkest there. So yeah, I think they're very, very wearable. Like I said, I used these 2 shades for my contour and my blush and I feel like that's worked out pretty well. Maybe it's a little bit too heavy and maybe it's not the best looking blush and contour, but it definitely worked in a pinch if you were in a pinch or you just wanted to use it for fun. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is, bottom line is, I'd recommend it. I think you'd enjoy it. Do I think you need it? Absolutely not. Do I think it's worth the money? Yes. Do I think you should wait till it's on discount if you do want it? 100%. These are the sort of palettes that are always going to have a little bit of discount on them. They're not necessarily hyped up palettes. They're drugstore palettes that will always have some sort of discount at some point in the year. So if you've got your eyes on this and you're thinking, I quite like that, then wait for a little discount. And I think when it goes to about, I don't know, £15, like down a couple of pounds, I think it'd be worth it then. I think I paid £11 for this, which I think is very fair. £11 for this palette, I'd highly recommend. For £17, I know it's only £6 difference, but I feel like it's worth not £17, but it's worth just around the £10 mark. I really, really like it. I think it's an absolute steal for 10 quid, to be honest. So yeah, I'd recommend it, just wouldn't say it's a must-have. If you've enjoyed this video today, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up button. And like I said earlier on in this video, if you haven't already, check out my big makeup hauls. There's 2 parts because there was so much. So yeah, I'm just about to film the second part of that in a second, but by the time this goes out, both parts will be out. So if you haven't already, check those out because I will be doing some follow-up videos on the makeup that I hauled in those. So if you kind of want a sneak peek of what's up in the next few months, do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you have not already and ring that bell, because then you'll be notified on all the videos I upload, hopefully. God knows how YouTube is going to change in 2019 and how they're going to change their algorithms, but I think you just hit the bell still. Apparently you've got to like notify it for all or something. I don't know. But I do appreciate you watching, so thank you very much once again, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! I don't like any of these brushes. I don't know why I'm attempting this. I never do a nose what the freaking hell have I just done to my face? I never do a nose contour, and for some reason I've decided to do a bronzer of my nose. Okay, with much deliberation. Okay, so I'm really professional at this. And we will sum up. Come on, focus. What do I even say? Oh my gosh, my foot's gone numb. Nike socks though represent. Whoop whoop.